Hey everybody, I'm Angel Tuccy. I am super excited to be here today speaking at Sponsorship for Influencers. I have had an incredible relationship with both Roberto and Warren from the very first day that we met them. We traveled all around speaking at expos and workshops. One of the very earliest things that I ever did for them was help them to crew one of their events, volunteering to help them. And I just adore them and what they're doing. Super excited that you guys are here today and taking time out of your busy schedule to learn about how to leverage the power of sponsorships for your business. And so that's actually what we're going to do today. I'm going to teach you how to leverage the power of media to attract sponsors and how to leverage the sponsors to attract media. They really go hand in hand. And so that's what we're going to cover today: media and sponsors, cracking the code on the media and sponsorship formula. Or I can share my screen with you guys today so that you can see what it is that we're covering, right? Media and sponsors, cracking the code on the media and sponsorship formula. I'm going to tell you exactly what it was that I did to crack the code on media and sponsors. And before I do, I thought I'd give you a little background onto about who I am. Again, Angel Tuccy. My clients call me the media exposure specialist, right? Media exposure specialist. And truly, I get to play media matchmaker. I have all these contacts after being in broadcasting for 10 years, broadcasting out of Denver, Colorado. I was a radio talk show host for 10 years, hosting a 2-hour positive business talk show. We were nationally syndicated across the coast. Pretty much from San Francisco to Washington, D.C., along the I-70 corridor, if you've ever taken a road trip. And then I was the host of a second 2-hour Christian lifestyle show where I was talking to moms in minivans in the carpool lane in the afternoon. And when I left broadcasting, I was hosting 4 hours of talk radio every day, which puts me in the top 1% of my industry. There's less than a dozen women across the country who host 4 hours of talk radio, let alone 2 back-to-back radio shows. So that's the space that I was in when I met Roberto and Warren. And I was actually on my way out of broadcasting. But when we talk about sponsors, it's very similar to advertisers. And so I've done both. I've gotten sponsors for events. I've had a wardrobe sponsor. I've had sponsors who have done in-kind and trades, who have actually invested and paid money for exposure. And then, of course, selling advertising for 10 years. We also were the host of a television show where we sold sponsorship packages, hosting events where we've sold sponsorship packages, also a magazine where we sold ad spots. And the benefit of what you are doing, right? Your event, your business, your brand, you are so connected to a corporation's audience, right? So when we reach out to these corporations for sponsorship dollars, they don't blink an eye because they have a budget. They have a budget already built in. So often as small business owners, right, those micropreneurs, they don't really have the budget built in for sponsoring and advertising. And so we pay for it with sweat equity, right? With our time. But as these companies and these corporations get larger, they're further removed from their ideal target audience, from that one-on-one conversation with those clients that you have. Remember, you have something incredibly valuable that they are looking for, and you have a relationship with these clients, an intimate relationship where you can text them. They're going to follow you on social. They're showing up to your events, right? They're meeting you in person or virtually. Corporations want that. They want that relationship. Just how you have built that relationship with your clients to attract that target audience and to build that audience and to become the influencer. The corporations are also looking to be connected and to build that relationship as well, but they know they can't build it with all of them. So they want to build it with you, some of the key brands, key influencers that are out speaking to their audience where they can't physically be, but you have given them an opportunity to get in front of them in a way, in a really valuable way. So remember that they have a budget. They are looking to connect with their target audience that you have already, organically or methodically and strategically are bringing together. So this is a great feature for them. I now live in Orlando, Florida. I was hosting, when I was a radio talk show host, I lived in Denver, Colorado, and I lived there for 35 years, raised my kids there, all went through, elementary school, middle school, high school, all living in the exact same house. And during the pandemic, we made the bold move to decide to move to Orlando, Florida, because at the time my kids had moved out and they were all working here at Disney World. So all three of my kids work at Disney. And during the pandemic, we just missed them so much, decided to sell everything, sell all of our furniture, put our goods in storage, and head east, right? Head east. And we were able to buy a house with a swimming pool. We live on a lake. We're 20 minutes away from our kids. We're super close to Disney. And y'all know that Roberto and Warren are big Disney fans. And so anytime they come out here, we try and make it a point to hang out with them and meet up with them. So that's where I am now, right? 10 years as a radio host. I am a 15-time published author, best-selling author. And my very first book was published in 2009, became a bestseller in 2010. We now have a whole lot of authors who are following up behind us, because being a published author is the number one way to create media exposure. And now I teach entrepreneurs, right, how to leverage the power of media interviews and press releases in order to get discovered. And when we talk about sponsors, you want to attract sponsors and you want to attract media. These two things go hand in hand like peas and carrots, right? Just so beautifully. I've also interviewed over 5,000 guests and hosted over 2,500 broadcasts. So my media background is fairly extensive. I've been in the space for 12, 13 years now. And what I love the most is helping small businesses and entrepreneurs, authors, coaches get that publicity for their business, their book, their brands, their events. And that's what we get to do every single day right here from my new little home in Orlando, Florida. But like I said, when it comes to cracking the code on media and sponsors, you are connected to their target audience. You have taken the time to curate a following, right? A fan base, loyal fans, or at least people that will show up, right? Show up for an event, and they trust you. People do business with people they know, like, and trust, and corporations who are looking to sponsor, right? Looking to build that relationship, they can't build it with that whole audience. So they're looking to build that relationship with you. And so sponsorship, a lot of it has to do with building value in first, building that relationship. And I have found for advertising and in sponsoring that sponsors will pay for one of two things. One, eyeballs, right? Exposure to their target audience. If you can say to them, I have X number of people, and it isn't always so much about the quantity as oftentimes the quality, right? If you've got a high level mastermind, a group of people that have been following you, right? That are, when you put out a post, they buy something or they follow you or they take action. Quality is just as valuable as quantity, but they're looking to be in front of their target audience. And the second thing that they're willing to pay for is something that they're passionate about. So whatever their mission is, if your missions align, right? Maybe your company is all about taking care of pets, right? Remember Price is Right, right? He was always about spray and neuter your pets at the end of the Price is Right. He was passionate about that. Sponsors will align themselves, even if you don't have quite the audience, the size of the audience yet. But if there's something that you're passionate about and it aligns with their passion, oftentimes they'll invest those dollars. And they have the budget in place. They have to spend this money. It's in their budget. So when you approach them to sponsor your events and, to come alongside, and you're going to give them exposure, you're going to align with their mission. They have the budget already. They don't even blink an eye. And so when you create a platform that showcases your audience, right, and your sponsors, it helps you to stand out. It helps you absolutely to stand out from the crowd. So we're going to leverage media to attract sponsors, and we're going to leverage media to feature your sponsors. What does that look like? Right? When you are leveraging the media exposure, you're getting featured on what I call OPA, other people's audiences or other people's stages, OPS. I used to call it OPP, but everybody starts singing and dancing, and maybe you are too, right? And so we're leveraging, when you when a sponsor is looking at you and they Google you, right? They're looking you up and they see, oh, look, they've been featured in the news. They are on all these podcasts. They are featured in magazines. Their blogs are out there on other people's platforms, other people's stages, right? Most of us, we have our social media sites, our websites, all the things are on our stage. But when a sponsor is looking at you, they're looking for exposure. And exposure is, how much exposure can we get? How much exposure is your brand already getting that they can piggyback on and leverage your exposure, right? And invest in that to leverage the exposure. So when we want to actually build relationships with media outlets and get our brand on other media platforms before we go seeking out sponsors. It's going to make us more attractive. It's going to help us to stand out and to elevate and differentiate from all the other people that are coming to them and asking for money, right? Like, I can give you money or I can give you money. Let's see, you do this and this is great, but oh my gosh, you are everywhere. We definitely want to align our brand with somebody who is everywhere. And as an influencer, you truly want to be seen everywhere. And that's the power of media. Media can create that for you. You can also leverage media to feature your sponsors. So if they know you're going to be putting out press releases, you're going to be advertising, you're going to be marketing this event, their logo goes everywhere. So not just the people that are coming to your event, everybody you're marketing to, you're creating the exposure for that sponsor long before people show up to the, to the event and walk in the door or on your virtual event. They see your sponsors or the audience. There's an audience out there that you're marketing to, that you're getting exposure in front of, that sponsor can be featured in. And so think about this. Like if they know, like when I sponsor you and I'm sponsoring your event, but in addition to that, you're putting out press releases for that's going out to hundreds, if not thousands of media news desks, and their brand gets featured in that when people Google them. That's good for, right? That's good for them, right? Good exposure. That's what they're after, exposure. So we're going to leverage media to get our sponsors. And then once we have our sponsors, we're going to leverage media to feature them and give them lots of good extra stuff, right? Lots of good extra exposure, which is exactly what they're looking for. So I call this the 3-2-1 media boost, right? Like a rocket ship, right? 3, 2, 1, boom, boost, right? 3 steps to using media to attract sponsors. Remember, sponsors want to align with brands with similar missions, and they want to align with brands with the same audience. You have that. Remember that. We're not walking in completely cold to a stranger. And especially if you're leveraging relationships that you already have. Think about the vendors you already do business with. Where do you shop now? Where do you recommend your customers go and shop now? You probably have a list of things and places of, maybe it's this phone case, and maybe it's this where you got your promo items, your banker, your insurance company, where you pay your bills, pay your rent. All of those folks, like, make a list of all of your vendors, where you shop, some of your favorite things, right? Oprah, her favorite things. What are your favorite things? And you can align and go after and reach out to build a relationship with those vendors, inviting them to come and play, right? Come and play with you. So we're going to showcase your mission to attract your target audience with a media boost. What does that mean? We're going to tell your story. The nice thing about media and interviews and press releases is you get to tell your story, right? This isn't marketing hype. This isn't leveraging, this isn't advertising of filling your event. This is really extra, read all about it. Factual documents featured in the news, or factual stories featured in the news, highlighting you, your story, your milestones, your breakthroughs, your strategies for how you help clients, and then of course also the event publicity as well. And so when we think about creating a successful strategy around media and sponsorships, remember, it's not a secret. It is just a strategy. So I want you to write down, like if you're taking notes, right? There's 4 different things that we're going to leverage in media to showcase our sponsors and our story. And number 1 is milestones. Right? These are things that you are, it's things that you're checking off your to-do list every single day. This is what's in your calendar, right? Finish this book, launch this course, host this event, get this sponsors, sell X number of tickets. Right? These are all milestones. These are things that you're checking off. Yep, did that, done that, right? Secured the venue, aligned with collaboration and JV partners. These are things that you're checking off. These are your milestones. Extra, read all about it. Roberto and Warren host Sponsorship for Influence. They attract X number of speakers to come speak on their stage. They have, the X hundred number of people in the audience buying tickets and participating. Check. These are milestones. Strategy is really, what have you done, or what results have your client seen as a result of working with you? I helped, author publishes, right? 17th book, becomes a best-selling author with the help of you, right? Couple collectively loses 100 pounds using your weight loss program. I'm trying to think of headlines right off the spot, but you can leverage the stories that you are helping your clients, the results your clients are seeing through a strategy story in leveraging media and PR. Breakthroughs, right? Have you had a breakthrough, right? Where have you come from? Were you School of Hard Knocks? Did you start from nothing, right? And built yourself way up? Did you bootstrap it? We want to see those heroes' journeys, right? Those heroes' journey stories. Those are great for publicity. Those are great for media interviews. Those are great for press releases, to be featured in magazines, to share on podcasts. And all of this gives you that media opportunity, that exposure. So when a sponsor comes checking you out, you've got all these places, all these audiences that are following you, that are seeing you, that you're getting exposure in front of. And then of course your publicity for your events. And so we talk about 3-2-1, right? It's connect with 3 journalists a week, 2 interviews every week, and 1 press release a month. And I'm going to break that down, but truly it starts with creating a story that attracts sponsors. Creating the story that attracts sponsors. Who are you in front of? What is that breakthrough? What is that transformation? What is that journey that you've been through and that your clients are going through? And stories get more airtime. People listen to stories. Yes, we want facts and figures and data, and we think we're all shopping around and comparing the checklists, right, and all of that. But truly, it's the stories that grab our heart. So when you think about what you're doing, where you've been, where you've come from, right, and where you're going, location, where you were, where you're at, and where you're going, right? How can you craft that into a vision and a mission that a sponsor is going to relate to, right? Tug at their heartstrings. It's okay. They already have the budget, right? They're already going to do the facts and figures, but what's going to truly set you apart is your story, right? And that's the key to building relationships is the stories. Remember that media attracts sponsors and sponsors attract media. So let's break this down, right? In our 3-2-1, the first piece is to position, right? Position you as that expert, as that go-to, as that influencer in the marketplace. And how do we do that? By putting ourselves out on other people's stages, being featured in interviews, right, on other people's platforms. You want to absolutely be the go-to expert in the industry and establish your brand, which means everything matchy, right? Your logo, your pictures, all of your social media, headlines, introductions, your website, everything matchy that matches this story, matches your brand and where you're going. So there's no confusion when a corporate sponsor is checking you out and looking you up, what they see on LinkedIn, what they see on social media, what they Google you, all aligns and is in alignment. There's no mixed messages. It's not confusing. Wait a minute, is she a dog walker? Is he a brain surgeon? Does he do graphic design? You don't want the answer to be yes and yes. When we think about what Warren and Roberto do, like they stay in their lane so solid, right? Roberto's all about sponsors and Warren's all about building community. You know that this is what they're known for. This is that they eat, sleep, and breathe. If somebody's looking for a speaker or they're looking for, I want to sponsor an event that focuses on this. They've been so solid, so clear on their mission, their vision, their path, their purpose, that they have positioned themselves perfectly in this. This is good news. Remember, this is great news, actually, because you only have to pick one solid topic that you are the expert at. One, right? Ride that horse in the direction it's going all the way. Pick one solid topic that you are the expert at, and make sure that everything on your social, your digital footprint, everything is matchy-matchy. And then we want to start to connect with 3 journalists every single week to build that relationship so that they've heard of us, right? I've heard of you, tell me more, right? Like that's what you're looking for. How do we find these journalists to connect with every single week? I'm so glad you asked, right? As you develop your expertise, I want you to boil it down to a key phrase, right? For me, it's media exposure, right? Media specialist, media for small businesses, right? Media for entrepreneurs. I want you to boil it down to a key phrase, and I want you to put that key phrase into a Google search, right? So if I pull up actually, let me stop this screen and let's share this screen, right? Let's share this screen so you guys can see this, because this is so much fun, right? So if I was going to type in a key phrase in, let's say influencer or sponsorships for business, for small business. When you pull up sponsorships for small business, right? This is Roberto's expert topic. You see here, there's this phrase or this filter bar, this sub filter bar, right? It says all news, shopping, videos, images, more. You see that? So if I click on news, what I am given is 199,000 results. Google is an amazing search engine. If they do their job, like you tell it sponsorships for small business, if you click on all, like you're going to get all shops, all websites, all blogs, like anything and everything. But when we click on news, this is giving us a media database of media outlets that are covering this particular topic. This is an organic database of media, journalists, and platforms that are covering your topic. Now, if I was to ask you, like, who do you want to be featured on? Like, if you wanted to be in a magazine or on a news station or a TV show, you probably could have your wish list, right? And I want you to make a wish list. These are all the media outlets that I want to be featured on. I want to be on the cover of Forbes, of Time, right? I want to be interviewed in Entrepreneur or Success or in Mom Journal, right? Like, where do you want to be? I want you to make your wish list. But can you imagine there's probably hundreds, maybe even thousands of media outlets out there that you've never even heard of? Probably, right? That they're out there every day looking for quality guests, people who are experts in their field. And this is a great opportunity for you to start to create that exposure. So when your sponsors come along, they see this distribution of exposure. So there's probably lots you've never even heard of. So if we go back to my Google screen, right, 199,000 results. We've got Maui News 4 days ago, Denver Gazette 2 days ago, Globe News Wire, Prince William Living, The Athletic, Search Engine Journal, City of Chicago, Forbes, right? Would any of these be dynamite media opportunities for Roberto to be featured in? And the answer is yes, absolutely. Look, this is 11 hours ago, right? A guide to local SEO for larger enterprises. So if I'm going to reach out to 3 journalists a week, I want you to think about over the next 90 days, I want you to start building up your organic media database. these are people, right, that are covering your topic, that when you reach out to them, that can cover, that are covering your topic. So here's here's an email address, right? So this is the Maui Chamber, right? It's the Maui business event. So you've got an email address, right? So if you wanted to connect with this this Maui business, right, their small business nominees, you have their email address directly in that media outlet, right? And so every week, right, every week we're going to connect with 3 journalists a week, right? Going to Google, typing in our expert topic, clicking on news, and finding 3 media outlets that are they have the perfect audience, right? Covering our topic, right? And it's a nice little perfect match. It's matchmaking, right? We're going to play matchmaker. Once you've done this for a couple of weeks and you kind of hone in on and tweak that messaging, right, of that topic, so that it brings up the ideal target audience for you, the ideal media platform for you, then I want you to go and automate this. Google.com/alerts. Google.com/alerts will then send you an email notification every time your topic shows up in the media. And right now, we're just building a database. We're building a database. I want you to get, over the next year, right? I want you to build up a media database of 100 journalists that are covering your topic. And we're going to build a relationship with them. We're going to start to connect with them and build a story and share our story with them month after month with this press release, right? And so right now, position yourself as that expert. So it doesn't matter if you've never done this before, doesn't matter if you're new in the space, we're going to establish you as this expert by, number 1, making everything all matchy-matchy, right? You are this brand expert, this business expert, this, whatever your expertise is. And then every week we're going to find 3 journalists and create our media database so we can start to build that relationship with them. All right. Are we good? Are you following so far? So position, fix, find one topic, right? Just stay in your lane, pick your one expertise, make sure all of your social sites, your websites, everything's matchy-matchy. And now we're going to start to build a database of journalists that are covering your topic, that want to speak to the expert that you are. So right where you are, right? We can start to do that today. Yes. Right? 3, 2, 1, launch, right? Boost, right? So that's where we're going to start. Second step is to publish, right? I want you to leverage the power of other people's stages, other people's audiences twice a week. 2 stages a week, that puts you in front of 100 new audiences. Do you think when you go and reach out to a sponsor and say, we'd love to have you sponsor our event or sponsor our brand, we get in front of 100 audiences every year and would love to tag you along with that, right? Sponsored by, have your logo on all of our material, right? On our call to action, make sure your logo is in our call to action and our freebie that we're giving away whenever we do these interviews. When I do a press release, that your brand, right, sponsored by, is in every press release, and we're putting out 12 press releases a year going out on hundreds and thousands of news desks. I reach out to, I've got 50 different journalists, right? These are the media outlets that I'm building relationships with to create exposure. Do you see how much more valuable you become versus I have an event, there's 37 people coming, right? No, not only do I have this event that's got 37 really high quality folks that have been following me, that are ready to take action, that will buy your stuff. They're already buying your stuff. They're going to become brand advocates for you. We're also getting this type of exposure every single week. It becomes a no-brainer. It's like, where do I sign? Who do I write the check to? How many zeros do you want? Right? On the end of that check, we like commas and zeros when it comes to checks, right? But being a published author, right? I talked about that I'm a 15-time published author. Being a published author is the #1 way to attract media, right? Media interviews for free without having to pay for advertising, but to be a featured guest on television, on news stations, on radio stations, in magazines, expos, and podcasts, right? It's not required. Absolutely not. Like there's a lot of ways you can get in the door just based on your expertise, and especially with distribution and exposure, everybody wants you. However, as a published author, it opens that door so easy. It's like putting WD-40 on those hinges, right? It just flies right open. The doors fly open, especially in front of your target media platforms. They're looking for quality guests. They're looking for experts. And if you are the expert, right? In fact, she wrote the book on it, right? We have Angel Tuccy. I think I have a book over here. Pardon me, right? I should have had that like closer, but right, there we go. Get discovered. This is my proof copy, right? Of the hard copy, right? It's kind of cool. It was anyways, so that's a whole nother story. But not only do we have the expert, we have, she's a best-selling author. She's wrote the book on it. I want you to think about how can we turn you into the published author with the content that you already have. I call it CPP, copy, paste, and publish. 90 days from today, you could have your own best-selling book. I call it a food book, the book that puts food on the table. And a lot of times we think about, if I'm going to publish a book, what would I write about? I'm going to do my story, my heart story, love songs, poetry, cookbook. And unless it ties back to your business, unless there's an immediate draw and straight line right back into your business funnel, right? Your business model. I call that a heart book, right? It's a book of passion. And if you've got a heart book in you, absolutely go and publish that book, right? We want that out in the world for all to be able to find. But your food book ties directly back to your business. So as we're seeking out these media opportunities, these journalists, and then we're reaching out to them, I am the expert. In fact, I'm the published author on this book. Again, it's like WD-40 on that door, just slides right open. Like the hinges just fly right open. They're looking for quality guests. And in their mind, a published author is a quality guest. Like they just connect the dots. You wrote the book on it, quality guest. They don't care if it's traditional published or self-published. Those are not questions that they ask. But ideally also, when you have a published book, you also have a way to monetize your exposure. And I know a lot of times people tell you there's no money in books, right? The money is all in the back end and clients and sponsors and corporate clients and all of that. And absolutely, there's money on the backside. There's money in selling books. There's a lot of money in selling books. I used to believe there really wasn't, right? Sell the book, become a bestseller, get the badge, right? And move on. We've actually tapped into a fabulous algorithm with Amazon on how to trigger that algorithm for continued book sales. And it comes down to these 2 interviews a week. Imagine you were doing 2 interviews a week, right? You could have your sponsors, right, featured in. There could be a QR code back to a website to see all of your sponsors. Like they could tie in together. Sponsors could host your book signing event, your virtual book tour. It just gives lots of opportunities for people to get behind, corporations and sponsors to get behind and support what you're doing. But if you were to do 2 interviews a week, right? 1 press release a month. So 3 journalists a week, 2 interviews a week, 1 press release a month, our 3-2-1 formula. In those 2 interviews, if you were to sell 25 copies of your book, right? I'm the author, right? Go and buy my book, right? You're going to get all these good, juicy results out of it. Here's what's in it for you, right? You're going to learn how to get discovered, how to use media interviews, who to pitch, how to rock it out of the park with your media interviews, how to follow up, our $1 million book formula, right? All in there. When you make it all juicy, sell 25 copies of your book, you trigger the algorithms with Amazon, but also that's $5,000 in book sales. How many of you would love to have just an extra $5,000 where you're not, these aren't clients that are on your calendar, right? You're not having to book discovery calls. You're not serving these clients. These are people that just go, they heard about you on somebody else's platform, in a magazine, a radio interview, a podcast interview, and they go and buy your book. And you can start to create nice little side hustle, right? Nice little side income. $5,000 a month. How many of you that could pay some bills, could hire some staff, right? Invest in some coaching and some programs, upgrade your technology. $5,000 a month, right? It's like printing money, right? It's like printing money. But in addition to publishing your book, right, make sure that you have articles published online in other people's blogs, on magazines, news stories, chapters in other people's books, right? Where you're getting that exposure and distribution. Again, when you reach out to a sponsor and say, I have been featured in, I'm doing an anthology, my chapter is in a book, right? An international bestseller. And, I'm marketing it with these high influencers, all these other influencers. You're starting to really develop a platform that is monetizable and sponsorable. Is that a word? Right? Really juicy sponsorable. So stay in your lane, right? Position yourself. Let's start to build those relationships. Let's build up our media database. Publish the book, publish the articles, publish the chapters, right? Get your story out on these distribution networks, right? Amazon's a pretty awesome distribution network. Right? It's the largest marketplace. People who shopped on Amazon today will shop again tomorrow. There's never a, well, I've already bought from Amazon this month. No. They shop over and over and over again. Amazon has tapped in to shoppers, right? Buyers. And they're looking to sell them stuff. So if you give them some content, like here's an item, Amazon, go sell this, they know what to do with this. People know how to support you that way. Right? Maybe we're not quite ready for your program yet, but I can buy the book, right? And get started. You can also put a book, right, in everybody's gift bag. You can now become a sponsor in other people's events, right? Can I give everybody at your event a copy of my book? There's so many juicy good things. Make money, open up doors for media opportunity, get sponsors, be a sponsor, share your story, attract clients, make more money, like all good things, all good things. Okay, third piece, right, is the pitch, the PR, the press release, the publicity. One press release a month is so juicy good for your sponsors, attracting sponsors, featuring your sponsors, telling your story, creating the buzz, building that relationship with those journalists that you're connecting with every single week. Every single news site is looking for fresh stories every single day. Right? They have white space to fill, dead air to fill, right? They're looking for stories. They're looking for human interest stories. Remember, good stories get more airtime, right? And stories are the key to media, PR, and sponsorship. So when we leverage the power of a press release and we take your story, remember your milestones, your breakthroughs, your strategies, your event PR, we start to craft these fabulous stories, and we can create consistent SEO, search engine optimization. So when people Google you, right? We did a Google search on media topics, but now when people hear you on a radio show or a podcast or see you on somebody else's stage, what are they going to do? They're going to Google you, right? They're going to Google you. They're going to connect with you on LinkedIn. They're going to seek you out, right? And what we want them to find when they Google your name is not, oh, did you mean Angel something else, right? No, we want you to find Angel Tuccy. We want you to find Roberto Candelaria. We want you to find Warren Carlisle. And how do we do that? With the power of other people's platforms, backlinks back to you. You probably have heard of that. But what happens when you put out a press release and a news station features your story on their website? It becomes Google food, right? Yummy Google food for Google. And then it becomes the foundation underneath all the heavier weighted links. So your website, your social media, right? You on Amazon, right? That's OPS, right? But your site, your Facebook, your website, your social, right? Underneath that, it's going to be all these other places, right? Your YouTube channel and somebody else's, your Amazon books, right? You can have a whole line of Amazon books, videos, podcasts, other places that you have spoken and been featured on. And underneath that are all these news sites that are covering your press release. So every single month, I want you to create a day that's called PR Day, press release day. And what day of the month is the best day to put it out a press release? Today. Today is the best day to put out a press release. But I want you to get in the habit of putting one out every single month, like clockwork. right? Like clockwork. So my birthday falls on the 18th. What day of the month does your birthday fall on? Right? I want you to create a recurring event in your calendar on your birth date. So every month on the 18th, it's PR day for Angel. Every day of the month, right on your birthday, it's PR day for you. This is an important day. It's an important day, and don't dismiss it. Don't underestimate the value of this. I want you to look at your calendar. I want you to look at your to-do list. I want you to look at your notebooks. I want you to look at everything around you. What have you done in the last 30 days, two weeks to 2 to 4 weeks? What are you getting ready to do in the next 2 to 4 weeks? I want you to look and celebrate everything that you're doing, because as business owners, it's way too easy to just get on that hamster wheel and just get busy and not realize how far we've come and not celebrate the milestones and the breakthroughs and the successes that we're having. And we just go check next. Oh my gosh, this was me. I'm like, okay, I did that. What's next? And luckily I had some people around me who would say, Angel, celebrate that. You're right. This is what we're working for, right? This is what we've been working towards. It's creating this lifestyle and creating this success, but we forget to recognize it. So PR day is celebration day. I want you to pour yourself something bubbly, right? A bubble bath, your favorite bubble drink, right? And celebrate that. And then let's put a press release together. And the reason we want to put this out every single month is to create that consistency with that SEO. This is what we're going to send to those journalists that we're connecting. We've got this great database that we're building up. We're going to send them our press release every month, just keeping them abreast, keeping them on top of the news. This is what's going on, right? So when they are looking for an expert to quote, to bring in on a topic, to feature, they're like, oh, I keep hearing from Roberto. Like, I've got a whole stack. Like, let's get this guy in and let's feature him. Let's get a quote from him on the status of small businesses right now, right? Let's bring you in as the expert. And we're going to just do that once a month. Every single month, we're going to send this press release out to this database. You're doing 3 a week, right? Get yourself to where you've got 50 to 100. You don't need a million. Just build that relationship. How do we build that relationship? The language of media is PR. Send them our press release every single month. What is that headline? Extra, read all about it, right? This is what's happening. This is the news. This is the facts. For over 100 years, right? For over 100 years, the news has been relying on press releases to get their facts and to get their news. And they still do today. This is, the media platform may have changed a little bit, but the foundation of how they get their news, right? Major networks get their news from their regional affiliates. Regional affiliates get their news from their local news stations, and local news stations get their news from press releases, from social media, from their boots on the ground, right? You can create the news by sending them a press release every single month, building that relationship with that journalist long before, like build it up 3 journalists a week, build up your media database, and once a month, we're going to send them a press release. We're going to get connected with podcasters and journalists and people with magazines, right? Other people's stages to do 2 interviews a week, every single week, right? And then 1 press release a month. 3, 2, 1 boost, right? 3, 2, 1 boost. Can you imagine, right? As you start to imagine, as you're reaching out to sponsors to feature you or to support you, now what all of this media exposure is going to do and how excited they're going to be about coming alongside of your brand, and then giving them the opportunity to be featured alongside of you in all of these media opportunities. It just brings it together in such a really harmonious way. You really become partners. And that's what they're looking for, right? They're not, even though they have a budget, they want to be smart about what they're investing in and the audiences that their brand is being showcased in front of. And so when they've got somebody like you that's a go-getter and you're all over the place, like we see you everywhere, and people are saying, I've heard of you, tell me more, right? Like that's what you're creating when they see your logos on all of these or these, major logos on all of your social media, right? I was in the news again. I was in the news again. I was in the news again. Okay? All of that starts to create this buzz for the marketplace to say, I really have been following you. I should check you out. Right? It allows that domino to fall. In all of this, you're attracting, right? You're attracting clients instead of chasing. Your one-on-one time is spent for quality leads, right? Your VIP clients. We're not filling up our calendar with one-on-one onesies and discovering calls anymore, right? Because we're leveraging the power of one-to-many, right? Media exposure to bring folks in. So again, right, we position ourselves. It doesn't matter where we've been, doesn't matter how, if we're just starting today, we can go and position ourselves as that expert today. And then 90 days from now, become published, right? We're going to publish our food book. We're going to publish articles. We're going to find somebody else's book to be a chapter in and feature in that. We're going to be featured in magazines. We're getting ourselves in print and publication. We're also being interviewed 2 times a week on somebody else's podcast, somebody else's stage. That's the secret. Other people's audiences, right? We're creating exposure and distribution, leveraging Amazon, leveraging somebody else's podcast. 2 interviews a week, that's 100 stages a year, 100 audiences. Put that in your sponsorship deck, right? Look at how many different places that you're being featured. And every single month, I want you to take inventory and celebrate all of the things that you're doing, all the exposure you're getting, all these milestones, all these breakthroughs, all these strategies, all of that. Let's put together a press release. And if you've got news, alert the press, right? 3, 2, 1, boost. So Dr. Wendy Labat, she is now an 8-time best-selling author. She is the producer of the Financial Cures TV show with Dr. Wendy Labat. When she started working with me 2 years ago, she had no exposure, right? She had put together a signature talk and was given that a test run, right? Going out and teaching entrepreneurs how to budget, right? How to find the right insurance, how to protect the wealth that you're building. And over the last 2 years, we've been working directly with Wendy. She's been using my 3-2-1 formula, and she says it worked instantly, right? 2 interviews a week. You can start to see the cadence, right? Then now she doesn't even have to go and look for stages. They come to her because media attracts media. Stages attract stages. In just this last year, Wendy's been featured on over 100 interviews. Like I said, she's become a best-selling author 8 times. Some of them are her own book. Some of them, she's a chapter in somebody else's book. I call that a spotlight book, right? So you have a heart book, right? That's your book of passion. Your food book ties directly back to your target audience and into your sales castle and your sales funnel. And then these anthologies or these spotlight books where you're being featured along a bunch of other authors who are doing cross-marketing for each other and winning that accolade, like earning that accolade of international best-selling author. So she is a best-selling author 8 times. Her first boot camp, when she came to my first boot camp, she wasn't even a first-time published author. And so it's been an amazing 2 years for her. Her stories are now featured on thousands of media news desks. Her income has soared. And plus her new TV show is fully sponsored. How is that for success? Because she can now go to these sponsors, and not only are you getting the exposure from the show, but this is all the other places. This is all the other exposure that Wendy is getting. And she becomes very appealing, right? Very sponsorable, right? To these sponsors. So I want you to start to make a list, right? Number 1, of the media outlets you want to be on, right? Your wish list, right? Where do you want to be featured? What shows, what magazines, what TV, radio, podcasts, and make your wish list. And then every single week, we're just going to go into the Google News, and we're going to start to find some other media outlets to add to that. I want you to build up a nice list of 50 to 100 journalists and media opportunities that you can start to reach out to and build that relationship with. We're going to publish the book, right? Help you to become published, whether that's a chapter, a full book, magazines, all of the above. Like, I want you to do it all. And in the meantime, excuse me, I also want you to be hosting and being featured on do 2 interviews a week, 2 interviews a week on somebody else's platform, right? 2 interviews a week on somebody else's stage. That puts you in front of 100 fresh new audiences. That makes you so sponsorable, so juicy. You can feature your sponsor in your call to action, in your website, in your database, like all the email marketing, right? Give them all sorts of extra love and attention. And then 1 press release a month, right? We're going to send that press release out to our media journalists, our media database, because a press release is the language of media. Like it's how they get the news. It's how they want to receive the news. You'll start to build up a relationship with somebody and a journalist, and they're going to put you on their short list, right? Send me this. Let's connect here, right? This is the story I'm working on. Do you have a quote? Can we bring you in? Can we send out a news crew? It's a good story. Right? Good stories get more airtime. If it's just, a quick little milestone, probably not going to bring you in, right? But they could feature that press release right on their website. And most local news stations are featured on major media networks, ABC, NBC, CBS, Fox, right? So when they feature your press release on their site, you get that masthead, ABC, NBC, CBS, Fox, right? Starts to get really, really fabulous and really juicy. And so then once a month, right? Once a month, we're going to put out this press release. So I do have some great resources I want to get you in touch of where you can create thousands of media contacts, right? Get booked on 100 shows, 2 a week, 100 shows. We created our media matchmaker site called Need a Guest, right? You need a guest, we have guests. Needaguest.com takes you right to our Facebook group where you can find free and paid interview and speaking opportunities. We don't vet these speaking opportunities, so you discern, right? You do your own homework, right? Make sure that this is a quality opportunity for you. But you can connect directly with podcasters, with journalists, event hosts, right? Everybody right there. It's super active. And so you want to pay attention to that every single day. People are posting media opportunities and podcast opportunities for you every single day. Second piece is we have a media starter kit at makeyourbigimpact.com. Makeyourbigimpact.com. Press release headlines, press release templates, 52 press release ideas, a full year of attention grabbing headlines that you can send to your journalists to connect with them, everything you need to get started in your 321 media boost online for free at our website, makeyourbigimpact.com. That's makeyourbigimpact.com. There's hundreds of thousands, even millions of media opportunities waiting for you every single day. Truly, if you want to impact hundreds of thousands, the best way, the only way to truly make that impact is by leveraging the power of media exposure. 1 press release a month, 2 interviews a week, and a media database of journalists who are familiar with you, who built a relationship with you, who know your story. You will become completely sponsorable when you leverage the power of media relationships and use it to attract your media contacts and to attract your sponsors and to feature your sponsors. I hope this was super helpful for you. Our job here is to make your life easier, to take you from where you are to fully sponsored, full media exposure. The universe loves speed, right? So go fast, jump in 100%, play full out, go all in, be unstoppable. And remember that when you have faith and you take action, the world shows up to support you, to guide you, and to create miracles every single day. Go out and make a difference. The world is waiting for you. And remember, what you think is ordinary is magic to other people. Go, my loves, and be magical. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you, Warren. Thank you, Roberto, for this opportunity to speak to your audience today. I'm super excited to be here, super excited for all that we're learning and all that we're doing together. Cheers. I can't wait to see you again in person. We'll talk to you guys. We'll talk to you guys so soon. All right. Cheers to you all. Love you. Bye-bye.